about Sacred Heart Bingo.
Now you're in.
Sacred Heart Bingo?
Holy Rosary Bingo, like the Holy Family Academy.
Oh, I hadn't.
No, you wanna talk to people on the other side of the wall.
Nobody was allowed.
So, thank you.
Okay, let's get this meeting of the Cable Advisory Committee open at I have 12 minutes after 10. Is that correct? Okay. On August the 3rd. We'll start with the approval of the last minutes on May the 12th of 22.
We'll have 'em next meeting.
Yeah, probably do that next meeting because we don't have them with us today. So the next thing will be on the agenda is cable bills.
Mhm.
And do you have some background to that?
So we have the bills that are due for Brittany that we didn't have enough money like that we allotted for the year. So what we're doing is we are going to vote at special town meeting. There's only 2 articles on there, one being the school and the second being the cable committee money, and that will pay her invoices off. So we just have to wait until, special town meeting to approve it. We do have the money, it's just we're only allotted so much every year, and so we just have to allot more, but it has to be done at a meeting.
Yeah, it's in our budget. It's not-
Right.
Okay. Any other discussion about that?
11691.
Hearing none, let's move on. Warranty money.
So that was where we asked for more money on the warrant, so we usually allot 20,000, and I think we decided that we were gonna allot for 30,000 this year. And that was just to offset for the new equipment that we'd be purchasing. Brittany had, at the previous meeting, had recommended cameras that you guys all had voted on. Well, we wanna make sure that we have enough, so it was supposed to be done, when the warrant got printed, it was printed with the old amount of the 20,000. So this would just increase the money to the higher amount.
Right, and who's bringing this up at the meeting?
That would be Ryan, so,
And
so
can we
he is,
make sure he lets them know that that's out of
right,
it's
it's
not
not,
out of a tax.
right, it has no it has no changes to taxes, right?
Do we have a date for the special town meeting?
Yes, August 22nd, Monday, 7 p.m. And it's at the school.
It's on my daughter's birthday. Her,
Planned it special for that.
Exactly.
well,
We can sing.
number 2, she's number 3, number 2 is the 21st.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then there's one of us on the 10th. All right, so that's fine. Zoom meetings are next.
So Zoom meetings were extended, by the state until next year, I believe the date is next year. So a lot of people either do Zoom meetings or hybrid meetings, and hybrid meetings have proved to be really hard. Brittany's been working, I know that they tried to do a virtual meeting, so if some people can't attend, they can attend virtually.
That is,
It does, right, and so we're trying to make it better by being able to broadcast on here, which we have done before, but then we don't get the audio, so we're just fighting back and forth between, like I said, you get one without the other. So Brittany's been working on it, she was here Monday, she acknowledges there were issues, she's working to resolve those issues to make it better. So with that, there might be equipment that the cable committee that we would look for that purpose, so that way, we can broadcast meetings to people, we can get people involved, and, that's, I think, the goal of the committee in a whole,
Yeah.
so,
So, right now, so Monday, last week I set up for the hybrid thing, tested it, worked great. Monday, select board meeting, set it up, audio issue. Couldn't figure out what was going on. Came in earlier this morning, tested it out with my laptop, it worked as it did the week prior. So the issue was the computer. When I was setting this up, I did speak to Ryan and mentioned that it would be best if we had a dedicated computer for the hybrid setup, because when we're switching out different computers, there can be variations and things can go wrong. But if we have one that lives here that we know works, etc., then it'll be a lot more bulletproof. The current setup is able to be done because I have a dongle in the back room plugged into a computer that I'm borrowing from someone, but we need to purchase our own in order to use that. It's really inexpensive. It's $18.
We have one.
Huh?
I believe we have one.
One
Here,
of
for the
these?
town.
I doubt it.
No, ours looks different. Ours
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
round. Okay.
Yeah, so the dongle that we have in back is on loan from someone. Just I borrowed it for testing purposes and stuff like that, but we'll need to purchase our own, and the
It's
cost of that is $18.
Have a motion to, buy that?
I second it.
I'd like to have a motion.
To make the motion. Make a motion to
Make a motion
purchase.
we purchase that.
A second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor? Aye?
Okay, great.
They've had a full
So, the setup does work, as I stated. However, it will depend on what machine is plugged into it. So I've recommended to Ryan, I will reiterate that again, and to Lori that we have a dedicated machine here for the hybrid setup.
What would you be looking at for a dedicated machine?
Really, it just needs to be a machine that's capable of running Zoom, and most even older computers can run Zoom, because Zoom designs it so that everybody can use it. So even like a pretty anemic computer, if it can connect to the internet, we can use it.
But long term, what would you want to buy? Cause you're right, I guess we could get an Android machine and
Really,
it
it could
do very
be-
well, but if you needed it to do some type of editing or extra work or sounding.
I
or
wouldn't buy an overpowered machine, because literally it's just gonna live there and be the Zoom computer. So even like a cheap Chromebook or something like that could totally work. Or an older laptop that nobody's using. I wouldn't spend a lot of money on it, because it's literally just running Zoom.
So you could get a Chromebook then? for under
Yeah,
200
I mean, really
for under
anything.
$200.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
we can buy an inexpensive like laptop or something, or if there's an older computer sitting around that nobody's using, that'll work too. Really just a computer so that we can set it up and I can have the settings there, and then it doesn't get touched for any other reason. You just log into Zoom and we know it works.
So if we were to buy that, I'm assuming you're gonna lock the access to whatever's on there.
There would be nothing
There,
on there.
well, there's gotta be something on there, but she's gonna lock it, so she has the password, and maybe the chairman of the board has the password, and they're the only two that can put their hands on it to open it up. So that way nobody says, oh, my machine's not working, let's use this one, and they grab it and they start using it, right?
That would be
Open
my
lock.
fear.
Right,
Well,
it happens everywhere, no big deal, it just happens.
Bridget has it. She's using it to like
Okay,
remotely
edit, okay.
access.
Okay.
Well, she isn't even using it to edit because it's too sad right now to edit. But she just uses it for remote access to upload files to the server.
Okay.
So, could the town buy that? They
I
bought-
would have to talk to Ryan,
Okay,
right, I
'cause
mean,
it
right.
seems like the last meeting, one of the meetings I attended very recently, the town bought, I think it was Chromebooks for all the members of the planning board,
Yep. Yep.
right?
Yep.
Okay, so,
Yep. Yep.
I would think they could come through on this circumstance likewise.
Yep, so I'll talk to him, he's out on military leave, he's back tomorrow, so it's something that I can talk to him about. Obviously, it's something that needs to be done, and then just see where that funding would come out of. If the town doesn't have money, would the cable committee be willing to buy one? Is that an option? I'm not saying that you guys are set to do it, or will do it, but I'm just wondering, is that something?
I think we'd have to think about it,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, I don't see an issue with it, but I'm just opening.
I just wish they'd do away with Zoom meetings, but obviously we're
But
not
they
gonna
haven't.
do that.
They're here to stay. COVID changed a lot of things, and a lot of things are here to stay.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna ask you a question about meetings.
Yep.
And it's kind of a circular question. If we were to invest a portion of our money, okay, and get through the US government a used mainframe, a small used mainframe, okay? Could we consolidate everything so that all the Zoom meetings that took place from all the committees in the town had to go through that server and thereby make it easier for you to comply with open meeting laws? Right now, every committee's got a hodgepodge of where to find it.
What do you mean, like
Whether
the
it's here, it's on
account?
YouTube, no, it's the meetings and where they go. Sometimes they're on YouTube, sometimes they're here, sometimes
They're
They're
all
all
on
on-
YouTube.
Yeah.
They're all on YouTube. Every meeting that we record, Zoom, in person, whatever, they all are on YouTube.
Yeah, they're all on YouTube.
But would it be easier if we had our own small mainframe? So
No,
that way
I don't-
everything could go through that?
No, I don't think
It'd be
so.
stored right in there?
There
No,
are.
I don't think so.
There are I assume that their individuals are putting them on other places. I've seen some on other
So we've,
platforms, but.
I mean, people can you can download YouTube videos,
Right.
so someone may be downloading our videos and then posting them elsewhere. I don't have control over that.
so we post. We, as a town, I've been working with Ryan. I did some of the social media stuff, and then I wasn't doing it, and then I started, because somebody else was, and then so it seems like it's coming back my way. So I've been, last week I was on vacation, but what I've been doing is trying to post every meeting that comes out, because that's what we want to do. Post the upcoming agendas so people can attend, and then post, like I said, the meetings so then people can see them. Because, people say they don't see stuff, they say they don't hear stuff, they say they don't get the information about it. We'll still pump the information out, as best as we can. They still won't get it. There's nothing else that we can do. We can only do our best to make sure that it's accessible for them and easily accessible.
I just tell them, my answer is, do you have something that you can get on YouTube?
Yeah.
Well, why would I wanna get on YouTube? Because it's on there.
Yeah, everything that we produce, meetings, content, everything is on YouTube. If it shows up somewhere else, that's duplication, but
Right.
all of our stuff is on YouTube.
Right.
And we can send out, a post if it's something even, or put it on the website, maybe somewhere, I would hate to keep copying and pasting back and forth, say on a cable committee and say, well, here's a video, cause it's so much work to do that.
I know.
So, maybe on every page, for the latest Board of Selectmen meetings, please click the following link, and I can boot them right over to the WHPA page. So I wouldn't have to post every meeting, but it would also give them access, for past and present meetings, click here. And that might be a way to boost if they're on our town website, say, that they can do that. So I can definitely add that to the pages and stuff for the boards and committees that are being
Right.
recorded. And that's something that we're gonna get down to, so we can get a, list of those, so.
But I don't think we need to, I just get really frustrated because when people tell me they don't know anything about it, and I just say, well, there's only probably about 8 ways you could find this out. Well, I don't know how to use my computer. Well, then you're probably not going to know what's going on in town.
Or come in person,
Or come in person,
right.
yeah.
So, I get it. It's a struggle that we deal with all the time, even for elections, people don't know, and I've heard that multiple times, and, on social media, I've said, then, if you have ways to, increase, let me know, come to me, tell me, and I'm happy to get more people, but, we advertise, we do all these things, our town meeting is the same time every year, it's in our bylaws, and so there's, other than picking people up.
Could you shut the door?
I'm sorry,
Please.
can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
You can come in,
Yeah.
but
Thank
we
you,
just
Mr.
need,
Bobby.
I'm sorry, I didn't even, no worries.
Your smart TVs, now you can get YouTube on them.
Yep, yep.
Well, yeah, and we broadcast the most recent meetings on the cable channel as well, but our full catalog is on YouTube. But, Al, to answer your question, we have the server there. All of the in-person meetings are recorded on that server and stored on that server. And the Zoom meetings are recorded to the cloud. We download those, process them, and then we upload them to the server. So the server keeps everything there. And as far as like where Zoom meetings are recorded, the cloud is best because you can download it to any machine versus having to physically go to a computer to get the file. So the way that it's set up right now is probably about as good as we're gonna get.
And no cost, right? There's no cost for
There's
YouTube,
Yeah, YouTube is free.
so, and you're not having another expense for something that we already have.
Okay, everybody happy? Board committee meeting recordings. How they going?
Good. We started recording Board of Health meetings, and we've recorded 2 since we started the first without issue, so that's great. We haven't encountered any problems with recording boards and committees. I understand Historical Commission, there's a member who doesn't wish to be recorded, and hopefully we're gonna address that next month. But beyond that,
Remind me. Just, but I'll be there.
okay.
So currently, I mean, I could probably look at the list too and see. So we have cable, obviously, Board of Health, Board of Selectmen, or Select Board, Library. The library recording?
No, we are not recording library right now. They wanted to meet with us.
Okay.
I forgot to
That's okay.
invite them to this again. But they were interested, and I think they wanted to speak a little bit more. I'm gonna reach out to them and see if I can come to one of their meetings, to answer any questions they might have. But I believe they wanted to possibly talk to the cable committee about it, so I'll
But they're open
send
to the
you,
idea, yeah.
yeah, I'll send you an email. Maybe it might make sense for us to go to one of their meetings.
Yeah.
They do have a meeting, but was it yesterday or is it today?
I don't know.
Or
I
was
couldn't.
it last week?
Oh, because
If they have a
none of
meeting
these
tonight, I
are-
can't make it.
they were
Cause
on
I know
the
at least they're
last
open to it, right? So I mean, that's good
that group,
news.
because when they took
They
our
have a
photos,
meeting
I'm-
tomorrow night. Unfortunately, I can't go tomorrow
Give me 1
night,
second.
but if anyone is able, we can
Where are
go.
they meeting?
They meet in the
Library.
library. In the
What
main.
time?
It's at 7.
I've never heard of it.
I can be there tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, I have like I don't remember if it's like state rep or state senate or something debate in Berlin. I have to record tomorrow night, so I can't make it.
So we have open space that does meetings. I'll just look at the list. Anybody who's on there, and then
So
what we'll
currently
do
the
is, and I'll
ones
add 'em.
that we're not recording at this very moment are
Library.
historical, library, and EDC.
Why not the EDC?
I don't know, cause I was told not to.
By whom? By whom?
I believe Lori had said that the board didn't want to.
So there was an incident with the Economic Development Committee where they came, Brittany had sent a worker, to record them, and there was altercation between the board and the employee, which I don't
Here's
feel
Kim
that,
right
what's the best way to handle it, I guess we could say, so,
Well, first off, Whitney was way out of line.
so, going forward, I mean, the videos are recorded and there are other ways to do it, I think that we should revisit the EDC. But I don't think that I would want one of Brittany's workers present, and because I don't feel that
Right,
they
we
should
should-
go through that again. So I have no problem if that's something, that we wanna do, is reaching out to the board. I know they haven't met, and I know that they're looking for members, so it's not, I mean, it's not a today concern of them. But it's definitely something that I'm willing to bring up to them, and I can CC you guys on it as the cable committee, and and just let them know, you know, hey, this is what we're doing, and, you know, if you don't want us, then, you know, can you let us know the reasons, or we'd be happy to meet with you to see what the reasons why you don't want to record.
Yeah, it should probably
First
be
off-
addressed.
First of all, it's a law.
Right.
Yes, by law they have to allow the recording.
You
It's
don't
not
have
a
to
choice.
allow somebody else's people to do it, but
Right.
you have, you have no choice.
Right. And as a, you know, the cable committee, just, you know, listening and seeing, you know, that there are options for people, right, that don't want to be on camera. You know, there's ways to face the camera, or place it, you know, if it's it's next door. So there are ways to work around that. But like I said, I did not wanna put, you know, Brittany, her company, or her employees in jeopardy of going there and having something like that happen again. I don't think that was fair.
And I would think that, quite frankly, they could bring 18, 20 different people to co-record, but none of that would meet the condition of the law.
Mhm.
It's the town that is going to has to be doing this.
So if you want, I can send an email out and I can CC everybody and let them know, you know, the intent of it, and see if we have any feedback of what they say, and then we can go from there.
Okay, yeah.
Okay?
I don't wanna, I mean, I've not gone into one of these yet that we had a fight.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
and we'll keep it that way.
Right, I mean, there's a way to go about it and say,
Right.
hey, like, we get that, you know, maybe not everybody likes it, but there's ways that we can work with you, you know, because this is what.
Well, when we were with the Board of Health, the first, you know, we explained to them, you know, that they could go into, you know. they
Yeah, if
just
there was
talk-
anything sensitive or
Yeah, how to-
you know,
how to
go
deal with
into
it.
an executive session for that.
And but I've been watching those just to make sure that the first thing that they do is go into closed session, and then the last thing they do is come out of it.
Right.
So,
No, and I think as EDC, you know, I mean, their purpose and their plan is to, you know, push out small business and help small business, and so I mean, by not recording, you know, I mean, it's not really helping the businesses in town either,
Right.
you know, so it's a really good avenue for them to push that information out on, you know, and be
Right.
seen and get those volunteers, so, you know, I'll definitely send that as like a pro to being recorded, so.
But your attempts to videotape for example, the EDC meetings, and the lack of the ability to do it for whatever reason that they cite, okay? Or even the fact that they're opening the meeting by going into an executive session, and your employees sitting around, then they come out of every session, well, we just adjourned, we come out of executive session. That should be noted, we should be notified, this board should be notified, because if they were to go in and play that game for a year, 18 months, then that would be inappropriate. That would be
Well, that
skirting,
hasn't-
that would be skirting the open meeting laws.
Yeah, that hasn't
requirement.
happened yet,
Right, exactly.
So-
but yes.
There's, there's also things with open meeting law and executive session. There's only certain reasons that you can go into an executive session. The other thing is once the issue that is done in executive session is resolved, those minutes or recordings could be released.
Correct. But
So,
on the other
it's
hand,
only
if they-
buying them time and like I said, they would have to have a legitimate reason
If
to
they
go
had
in.
anywhere between 50 and 200 meetings,
Yeah.
and all of them all of a sudden were coincidentally executive session,
Well, then you're gonna run into,
A
you
problem.
know, well, right, then
But
you're gonna
they're
run
gonna
into
have-
an open meeting law violation that will be filed against
They're
them by
not-
somebody, you know.
They're not, when they go into executive session, they don't quit
Recording,
recording.
but it's not released and
But-
only certain people have permission to review it.
right?
And then it can be placed out, so
Yes.
it is recorded, but it's not shared. Because then you have, you know, because you'll still need to do minutes from them or, you know, whatever it may be. So that recording is still in existence, it's just not released until it can be. So,
But it doesn't meet the requirements of the law.
what?
If that's the case, it doesn't meet the open meeting law requirement to make it available to the general public.
There's
Not at
no,
that-
If they
not-
do-
there's no,
If they do repeated
Right,
executive
right.
session.
Well, but they would need to, okay, but they would need to have, like I said, a legitimate reason. They just can't be like, oh, well, we're talking about, because eventually, whatever that issue is that they're talking about is gonna be resolved, right? If it's a, say that, you know, it could be something against an employee, you know, there could be like question against an employee. Well, eventually, that question about an employee, their character, their reputation, or whatever it may be, is going to be resolved, you know, and this happened, actually, when I first came on, you know, you guys were dealing with the end of the Cindy Doan stuff, so, you know, once that was resolved, it's resolved, you know, whether people, you know, feel what way it went, or, that doesn't matter, that issue is taken care of, that stuff can be released. You know, you can't release it during that time, just because if it has sensitive material in there, that could get out to people, and it would, you know, altercate the, you know, decisions that are being made, or there would be, you know, so like I said, there is a time, you know, of when it needs to be done, so they could try, but like I said, again, if somebody, you know, if a resident said, okay, well, hey, their last, you know, 15 meetings have just gone into executive session, they come out, they never do any public business, there's gonna be a question, right? Now they're gonna go
I
against
would
open
hope.
meeting law, and it's gonna be filed to the state,
Well,
then the state's gonna
first
get
off-
involved.
First off, she's putting this all on tape, videotape.
Yep.
And it's, you know, she's gonna see it immediately.
Mhm.
Because before it goes onto YouTube or anywhere else, they're going to edit that part out.
Sure.
And that's what, so I would assume, and we've already talked about this, that if that happens, I'm gonna know about it.
Mhm.
So it's not gonna be 15 times, it's gonna be the first time.
Right.
Because if it's, you know, in a very calm voice, I told them it was a law,
Mhm.
and that if you're not gonna do it,
Things got signed off, it was well done.
you're just gonna go on. I'm not taking the rap. So the next thing you're gonna do is get a warrant from somebody because you're breaking the law.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm sorry, but that's the way it is.
And like I said, and the state would, you know, I mean, if there was a question that the state, you know, it'd be a quick call to the state, and the state would investigate,
Right.
you know, if there's an issue,
Absolutely.
so. I don't see that as an issue, you know, could people take advantage of it? Sure, do I think they will? No, you know, like I said, I think it's just gonna be a matter of, right, maybe at the EDC when they showed up, they were caught off guard, it was, you know, new, and they, you know, that was how they reacted, because it was just in that moment kind of thing, so maybe if it's a different approach, and we go, hey, we know this, but this is what we're trying to do, so if you have that conversation with them, it
Well,
might be a different story, and there might not be
The
any
person that
issue.
created that is, you know, she's real good at jumping into something she doesn't know anything about, and then not doing anything about it, so.
So, I will, like I said, send an email out, and I will send it out to the current board members, on the EDC,
Great.
and look for the feedback and report back on that.
Anybody else that we have trouble with?
No, that was it, and, yeah, I think that we're gonna end up recording the library, we just need to like connect and confirm with them. I
I think
don't
they
foresee
just-
an issue.
I think it's gonna be just like the Board of Health, you know, they were
Mhm.
adamant, and then when we walked in there, they knew that they had to do something, and I was just a little taken back that they didn't understand anything about going into executive session. And you know, there are gonna be things that all of our committees have, that they need to do that, but, we probably ought to provide them a list.
Sure, I was gonna say, there is a list
All
at
of-
the state, yep,
Yeah.
of the reasons of why you can go into an executive session. And in executive session, you know, again, say if it was like, you know, sometimes it's, union negotiations, you know, as well, right? Cause it's in negotiation, it's not done yet, once it's done, it can be released. But also in the executive session, you need to say, so people understand what it is, so on your agenda, you'd have to post that it's an executive session and why it's an executive session. So it's, you know, union negotiation, and it'll say firefighters, so somebody's gonna know, you know, who that union negotiation is with. They're not
So
gonna know
the-
the details of it, so it's not that they can just go in and do it, the agenda's gonna have to be posted that they're going in for that reason. Obviously, like if there's an issue with a home, or condemned, or, you know, like, you know, things like that, right, we don't wanna put their public information out, we wanna keep that, but eventually, again, that issue would be resolved and it would be able to be released, so, yep. But I can get that list, and then, you know, what I can do is, I can send it to you, or I can send it to, you know, the chairs of the committee and just say, you know, for
Just
update
for-
from the cable committee, we'd like you to have this, and,
Right,
Yep.
send me a copy too.
Yep.
Well, I guess I'll get several of them, 'cause.
Yep.
Alright, cable equipment, we kind of covered some of that.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else that needs to be?
The plan was to make those purchases in the new fiscal year.
Sure.
Should I be doing that, or are we waiting till we have more funds?
Let me talk to Ryan tomorrow,
Okay.
and then I'll let you know where that stands,
Okay.
and then what we'll do from there is we will, then go ahead, and they've approved the purchase, it's just we were waiting for that money to approve the purchase, so, so like I said, let me talk to him tomorrow about that, and then I will email you.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions on that? Live feed capabilities.
So that was a question that came from, I think it was Vietnam Veteran Committee.
Oh.
I
saw that.
Yeah, so, like live feed from events, you know, and Katie's done like Facebook Live, and obviously the, you know, service in town is iffy at best, putting it in a nice way, and, so we didn't know what the capabilities were of like a live feed of events.
So, with our current equipment, the only way we can go live is from that room, basically this feed. There is additional equipment that you can purchase for live streaming and stuff like that, but again, we would need to be plugged into Ethernet, which our limitation I think would be, I think it's like 200 feet or something like that. There are cellular options for streaming, but the cell service here is so poor that I do not think it would work. I watched that committee meeting, so I know specifically what was being asked, and it was asked about the
Rec
Memorial
field, the
Day,
parade.
the Memorial Day parade and the ceremonies and stuff like that. Could that have been live streamed? And the short answer is no. Even if we had the equipment, we would have had to run cables across the road, which is not an option. Alternatively, we would have to have some sort of Ethernet source, either from the church or one of the houses nearby or something like that. But that would have, I mean, the finished product that I put out was a
Editing it.
there was a lot of editing and stuff like that. For us to have that quality production live,
That was an excellent production.
thank you. For us to have that kind of quality production live, we would need a crew. I would need 5-6 people, and we would need a whole lot more equipment. And I don't feel that would be like a wise use of our funds. For the most part, I think everyone who wanted to be there was there, and those who were unable to be there, they were able to see the finished product shortly thereafter. So, you know, long answer is yes, it's possible to live stream events, but it is not easy, it is not cheap,
Yeah, I don't think it's
and it would require more people.
Well, I don't think it's within the scope of our.
I
of the
wouldn't
cable
think that
committee
it
to
would
begin
be a
with.
wise investment at this time.
No, I don't either.
So what if, and I'm not saying now, but you know, there's proposed towers and stuff that are going in. What if that happens and the cellular service is much better in town? How would that service be? Would that be easier and cheaper to do?
That would be easier. It would require the purchasing of equipment. I would have to research how much a streaming device that uses cellular data would cost. I mean, as time goes on and these things become more common, they become less expensive. If cell service became really good here, like minimum of 3 bars, we might be able to, you know, be able to live stream some stuff at a lower quality. It is a possibility in the future. And as I said, like, as time goes on, the equipment for that gets cheaper.
I'm sitting here looking and I'm saying it's HUBBARDSTON, not NYU or whatever. I mean, you
So
know,
we'll
I
see.
know what they're looking at TV and it's going down, you know, the, 8-lane road and it can be done and it's great, but this is Hubbardston, Bijou. It's not, you know, this, I don't think we could do it. She said we could do it, but we're not gonna do it on the budget that we have. This is we're gonna now have to start taking money from taxes, which I don't know that people really want that.
Right. I mean, the information is still out there, you know, like I said, it was just a question, and I said that I would bring it up at the next meeting, you know, and see what, if they were.
Right.
You know, so I mean, we know that currently in our situation, it's not feasible, you know, it's not cost effective, but going forward, that if cell service were to increase, that is something that we could look at. But there's no point in wasting the time or, you know, resources to do that now when it's not even a capability. So I would say that we would revisit it, you know, if a tower goes in, then we can price it out at that point.
You know, we invited several, you know, people that could have come out here from Worcester and even in Boston. And they said, gee, sounds like something we should do. They never showed up.
Sure.
These are the TV people, you know, so.
Yep.
I think they looked at it and said, yeah, well, it's HUBBARD.
Are there 2 towers going up?
Huh?
Are there 2 towers?
I don't know, I think
There's one going in down where the senior center site is, across from the rec field, but that is the tower for, like, communication tower for Rutland. So it's for, you know, the radio and service in
Police
town for
and
police
fire.
and fire, right. There is a proposed one, Al was at the meeting as a ZBA member, I'm not sure what the outcome of it was, you know, with that one going off of, you know, you can see it from Main Street, I'll say Main Street, although I don't think that's maybe necessarily what it is, but,
Let me help you with the door there, Tom.
but, that's, you know, I don't know where that one stands. Nor do I know at that point what the service carriers would be. I mean, did it move forward, or this was just an informational meeting, correct? So it
Correct.
hasn't gone to vote yet.
Correct.
So no action has been taken. So that's where that stands right now.
I think that's the right answer. The one over here is not the right answer.
So,
That's just my opinion.
Before we ever get to that point though, shouldn't we establish some rules and regulations as to what criteria we have to determine who gets a live stream and who doesn't? We don't wanna get bogged down where you did his and you didn't do hers and she's upset or vice versa, because whatever
I think the
convoluted
answer-
reason they can come up with, we'd have to put some guidelines into an effect and establish some guidelines, so that way whoever comes in and says, I got
no, it would have to be town
this event,
events.
this event is gonna take place, I'd like to have it live streamed, they'd have to, you know,
Well,
meet the criteria we established.
Well, first, we don't have the ability to do
Right.
live stream.
Right, but I'm saying we should have.
But
But
if
if you
it
want that,
comes-
if you want what I would do is I would say, you know, if you want, the results that the Memorial Day, for your meeting or for your event, then you have to raise the money and hire the people, because we, you know, behind the scenes, guys, you know, Bill Hay and several other of us puts a lot of money back in there just to get people with the right cameras, you know, and the guy that did the Zoom, got the overhead.
Oh, yeah,
You know.
drone footage.
So
Well done.
that was all set up by that committee. So they're the ones that paid the bill.
I understand that, but the criteria for us to consider their application to have it live streamed should be written by the board and established by the board, where we all agree that they have to meet this criteria. Maybe we want them to put a stipend, or we want them to put a down payment of some type, a safety, in case something should go wrong. Maybe we were gonna say, if you're gonna have X number of people, you gotta have X number of police on duty at that time. Or you've gotta have parking, gotta have this, gotta have that. We're not just gonna say, oh, she called today, she's gonna want it at 2 o'clock, can you be there? We gotta have 7-day notice, we gotta have 10-day notice, I don't know what it would be. But we've gotta have guidelines written down in paper that somebody comes and says, I'd like to have my event live streamed. Well, here are the guidelines, this is what you gotta fill out, and you gotta give it back to the board, and we go by and see if they've met the criteria that the board has established for doing the event.
It's just not a now problem though. Like, I
Right.
definitely think it should
Right.
be done.
It's not.
It's
But
definitely
if-
something that we could talk about, but if it doesn't ever come to be, then there's no sense of doing all that work, and it doesn't, it's for nothing, you know,
Correct.
is what's gonna
We could
happen,
do a little at
so,
a time instead
right.
of having
Well,
all of
I
a sudden,
just, I,
we're gonna do it, and okay, we
Yeah.
got the money, we're gonna do it, okay, boom, and,
So
you know,
now we
gotta
can't.
have it
I can
next
get
week.
the answer right quick.
yep,
Get me to the select board, and I'll, but not right away. I want some kind of, Brittany to help with, you know, what is it gonna take? What kind of equipment would it take? And how much money at this particular point in time is it? And I'll take it and say, you know, we've been approached by this, it's not within our budget capability. So the real question is, do you want us to put a program together and let everybody, so that you know how much it's gonna cost, what it's gonna take, and let them
Yep.
form a committee.
yep. So, like I said, I think we deal with that as it comes.
You know, if they want
If
to
it ever
add that,
comes.
if they wanna add that to this committee's responsibility, then we'll take it on. That sound good?
Yep.
Albert,
Yeah.
yep,
Can we do that?
yep.
So you're up first.
Like I said, I would wait, yep, we'll wait and see what happens if there's a cellular option, we'll see what the cost is, and then if
Yeah.
that comes to be and we think it's something that we can
Yeah.
do, then we start putting policies and procedures in
Right.
place,
So,
so.
and
It's,
then-
it's a long road to
That's a
that
long
point.
roads, but we can
if you
start
wanna live
by
feed
getting
an
the
event,
information
come.
that we can get now to do it.
We love participation in events, you know, so
Yeah.
if you wanna see it in the now, come.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of the events would have to be edited to have it look right.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but listen, this lady took the wrong song out of the thing and put the right song in. Did you guys notice that at all?
I
They're
saw,
not supposed to.
When the
I know,
The whole point is so that they don't do it.
when they
I know they played it wrong twice, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Or they played the same song
they
twice.
played the Navy song for the Army,
Yeah.
Well,
and then later
great
on.
news, the permanent record does not show that.
No, it doesn't show it. Permanent record shows the right song.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Cause there's no number on it in the system.
It's the magic of editing.
So I have one starting with Garter Road and all.
all right, so we're at,
Okay.
is that okay, everybody? All right? Memorial Day, PSA, what's 2023?
So so they, I mean, you
There
were-
will be one.
Yeah, so that was just, you know, talking about more just getting, you know, Brittany on board of doing something like that, and, you know, and
Yeah.
I know, I'm sure she is, but it's just getting those, you know, the word out, they want, you know, a big event again, you know, obviously, they set the stage with this one, and the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, or the Memorial Day Committee, you know, kind of met and finalized stuff of the, you know, how it went, what they could have done, and, you know, looking forward to next year and what they can do to keep the crowd and grow, so, you know, definitely if we
Who-
can start pushing that stuff out.
Who is the chair / who is the point person for Memorial Day Committee?
Claudia's the chair.
Okay.
And they're actually.
Bill Shea's on the committee, Tom Collier's on the committee. Who else is on the committee? Is
I've
Dolores?
I've already got some tasks assigned to me.
Okay.
Yeah, we're looking at, the whole thing is, you know, this was, everybody in town thought this was great. So, let's do it again.
And in other towns, I mean, you guys had a lot of even, you know, Gardner was posting, hey, this is, Hubbardston did it right, you know, this is what, you know, to do, and so for a little town, you guys made a big statement.
And I think the Vietnam veterans, they get their new memorial, and I think a lot of those are gonna come next year.
So
Yeah.
they'll submit all the other changes on
And
Friday.
so we had several different
Thank you.
ideas. But we haven't really met and really started
Yeah, you guys
hammering
should
them
meet
down
soon.
yet, but, we're going to be, there were some really good ideas that were put on the table, that, what we're gonna try to do is, make sure that this, you know, this one was all about the Vietnam vets. Well, how about the ones that fought in the Revolution, and how about the ones that fought, you know, in this war, and so we're kind of looking at some of those. I've been assigned to get the speaker, and trust me, the sign was for somebody really good, like maybe somebody with the Congressional Medal of Honor. So we're trying to, we are trying to make sure that we can keep the stuff going. And I know that Brittany is taking great pride in how well that went on, so she'll be all right with it. That's, and I am on that committee, and I see Bill quite often on other business, so we'll keep you in the town events.
Town events, we have special town meeting coming up, the fair, in September, I wanna say, what was it, the seventeenth,
Field
we
day.
said? Field day. I always mix those two
I
up.
do it too. I've done it
Every
for
time.
years.
I say one or the other. I think I always just refer to it as a fair, but, so, special town meeting, field day, dinghy dash, and the haunted hayrider events that are
Yeah, I have
upcoming.
all those on my calendar.
I think that's all of them, right? I don't think there's any more.
Katie was saying something about doing some other Halloween type thing. Has she said anything about that? No? Okay. Maybe it's not happening this year.
There's that other, what is it, the parade?
Yeah, the parade.
The parade they do too,
The
the something parade.
parade of,
What's it called? Something parade.
the parade of
Is
witches.
that-
Horrible.
That's what I was gonna say, the
Is
horribles.
that Girl
The
Scouts or
Horribles parade. That's
Yeah.
it, the
or is
Horribles.
that a celebration thing?
I think that's like a scholarship committee thing.
Who should I ask Katie about it?
Katie, yeah,
Okay.
or Flo does a lot of it too, I think, but Katie would be the first person to
Well,
go
the
to.
library's got a big celebration next month.
Oh, they have, yeah, the library, 5K, it's their what anniversary, a lot.
Yeah, so they asked me to get some vintage photos of the library for the celebration. They're gonna blow them up and like these here
Yeah,
and display them in the celebration.
so, yeah, the library 5K would be another good one to do,
I marched in that one year.
you know?
My
Maybe I'll see if my son can run.
My first granddaughter was 3 years old. She's 23 now.
Wow.
And I was dressed in farmer's clothes.
I'm not seeing the
Leading the sheep.
I'm not seeing the 5K on their web page.
Oh, on the public
Oh.
library, no, go to the library itself,
There we go. The 10th
25th
at 9
annual.
a.m. It's the day of your meeting. It's problematic. Okay.
At 9 a.m. What
Mhm.
time is your meeting? 10?
Yeah, 10.
So,
I mean, you're right next door.
mm,
Most people are done running by an hour, right?
yeah. It's 5K, I mean, usually no more than would say like 30,
That'd
well,
take-
you don't have people
No,
like an
there's
hour,
like
but
45.
walking and stuff.
To what?
Hours.
2 hours?
It depends who
Cause you do walkers, you
That's
do
what
the
I'm saying,
beginning,
right,
plus you
exactly.
do like awards and stuff.
Yeah, I think the main winner, I think, does it in under
Yeah, they
Probably.
30 minutes.
Oh, yeah, it's the top person's probably
Well,
gonna
you
do
won't
it
be
in about
filming it.
18 or 20.
You won't be
You're
filming
trying
at
to
this
tell me
meeting
that's
anyway,
not gonna be
just
you?
it's gonna be informing of what you guys wanna do.
No,
instead of
but
filming.
I need to
Are you
physically
trying to
be
tell
there.
me that you're not gonna be there in
What?
in
Inform
30
who?
minutes?
Well, this meeting, you won't be filming this.
Yeah,
I
you'll
wouldn't
able
be
to-
there in 6 months.
You'll be able to have
He's
lunch.
talking about the historical.
Oh, the historical, right, she wouldn't be fit, she's just going to talk to you guys.
Right, right.
You have to bring your lunch.
Alright, I will add the 5K to my calendar.
And then, you know, the order.
Now, usually the walk, the 5K walk, that's usually the same day as field day.
Yeah.
Of the year, so
Yeah, it
field day's gonna be
starts-
another week after.
No, they moved it
No,
a
they
couple
moved
years
it.
ago. They moved it a couple years ago, cause it used to be the same one, but then they kinda like, you know, didn't work together, cause you thought that one would go from the other and go back, but it really didn't work out that way, and so then they just moved it, because then you have people coming into the fair, and it was just traffic, and so they ended up switching it.
Yeah, they.
Cause there's
they-
no benefit to, you know, they didn't see a benefit to holding it the same day.
Yeah, well, they were having trouble, you know, it was the people who were running that really were upset, and I could understand it, because they were
Mhm.
running, trying to get through traffic and
Mhm.
trying to get through, you know, people
Yep.
parking in places they shouldn't be parking.
Mhm.
That was all under the guise of Dave Tatton, now it's, Mrs. Come on, your predecessor,
Oh, Green?
Graves,
Green,
yeah.
yeah.
and her group, and they're much more organized.
Mm.
Okay, that's town events, any new or old business that we need to talk about?
The setup, the PA system that we use for town meeting, the speakers and the mixer, the speaker stands disappeared.
The what? The
The-
stands?
Yeah, like it's a little tripod
Yeah,
with a pole that the speaker stands on. They disappeared. They are not in the room where they were stored.
Who has access to the room?
Police.
Please.
Was it there when, at the end of the last use, was it there?
Yeah.
Did anybody ask them?
Yes, yes, I asked everyone.
Right.
And they've been looking. They're gone. I don't know.
Again, like, you know, something I brought up last year, we gotta start cataloging the equipment and
Well, I have an inventory of it. It's on our
I
inventory
understand
list,
you
but
do, I mean, that goes back to when we started purchasing equipment and we were all scrambling around looking at each other going where to put it. I thought it would be, you know, very simple. You got a whole town, you can just put it somewhere safe, secure, where only certain people have access to it. No, we can't put it here, we can't put it here, we can't put it here.
yeah,
And this type
so.
of thing was just projected, we knew this type of thing would eventually happen, right?
Well, I think as long as we don't have our own secure space, as long as we're sharing space and other people have access to it, there's a risk.
Is there any possibility that that tower, that tripod could be over at the school,
Of the stands.
the stands? Cause they thought it was part of the music department?
No, because we don't store them there. Like
I
after,
understand, but then maybe somebody saw it and said, oh, this belongs to the school.
I mean, maybe, but I highly doubt it. Like
Okay, it's just an idea.
it was like over with our stuff, all of our equipment, and like I
Unless
don't
they
think
never
the
came
police
back.
would like see something of ours and be like, oh, this doesn't belong to cable and this doesn't belong to us.
That door is locked, isn't it not?
No, always.
Yeah, well, if it's
Oh.
not,
The door where our stuff is, no, that's open.
So who has access to that area then? So that-
Everybody.
would you I'm just gonna say, so you're saying anybody and
Police
everybody?
department. No, just the police department. I mean, the police department's locked. So technically, it's not, I mean, you can't just, somebody from the public can't just walk in. They have to be buzzed into the police station and it's in the back room, so the only people that have access to it is just the police department.
But that space is not organized at all, and sometimes I go in and our stuff has been moved or whatever, so it's very likely that at some point they were moving some stuff around and it got moved away from our stuff, and then, I don't know, maybe it's somewhere in there, or maybe it was with their stuff and they're like, what's this? I don't know what this is, and they got rid of it. I don't know. But they're missing, and I looked for them everywhere.
Maybe if you label all the equipment property of,
No, it's not labeled property of,
it should be probably.
yeah. Well, we can buy a label maker and I can label everything.
That way you don't have to question who owns it,
Well, I mean, somebody could remove the label, but yeah. Thankfully, I mean, I really do think that
Got it.
I really do think it was probably just accidental or whatever, because there's other more valuable things in there of more use that I would expect would go missing before speaker stands would go missing.
Right.
Do we wanna check with the school to see, like, even at next meeting and see if they are there, like, being up on the stage or something, that they never maybe made their way back from an event? I mean, I wouldn't think that would be the
I
case,
could go
but-
over there, and getting into the school is like,
I know. I have the
a nightmare.
custodian's number though that we could.
okay.
So I mean, that could be a last fail swoop just to check and see. But
Right.
but what if they're not there? Then what's the plan?
We would need to buy replacements.
What do they cost?
Great question. Let me see. Looking like could be somewhere between like $65 and $125.
For both?
Yeah, for both. I would have to do like a little more research to make sure it was the right one that would fit ours or whatever, but at quick glance, looks like somewhere between like 65 and 125.
This sounds cheap for a decent speaker.
Well,
not a
it's not a
speaker.
speaker, it's just stands. So just little tripod leg and
Okay.
a thing. They're large. The bag is very large. I don't understand like where it could have gone. Like it's a big bag. So I'm at a loss.
I think they just saw it in there and they didn't know who it belonged to, and they assumed the school or somewhere else.
Yeah, I'll go look over at the school,
We have a new
but
chief, don't we?
Interim, correct? Yes.
As of now, or?
Yes. As of 2 weeks ago or
He
something.
should be somebody we should consider interviewing after whoever the guy is or woman is who gets appointed to that position in the future. That'd be a good thing to have on the website. You know, introducing the community to the new chief
yes.
of police, whoever he or she may be.
And likewise town administrator.
And likewise, town administrator, very good,
Yeah.
right.
So
Yeah,
like
we
a
oughta do it.
PSA basically of new leadership.
Did we consider doing an old one for Ryan? Saying, you know, he's leaving, da-da-da-da-da, and reflecting on his time here, and what does he see as our strengths, weaknesses, and what he sees us maybe should be doing going forward, or future ideas? Does that be a good interview to have on the website?
Think we could get him in there?
I can talk to him.
Okay. Yeah, I think he was a positive thing for this place.
Yeah. Definitely.
I'll task you, to get the questions, please, give me, yes,
See what
On this
happens when you
committee.
bring your ideas.
Your idea, you know, if you don't wanna do I'll do the questions, but you gotta give me some.
Or if-
I was thinking the other way around.
Or if there's questions, if there's questions that you guys have that you compile them or, like between now and then.
You can you can do both of them if you want, you can write them
No, yeah, right. No, I think that, I'm just throwing it out there to the committee.
I
That's
think it's a
something we
good
should
idea.
do.
I think, yeah, we should
Right?
do that. That's great. That's a great idea.
See, you're an asset to this
You know,
committee.
I slit my own.
Early on, he didn't think he was, but
I know.
we've convinced him that he is.
He still says he's not every week, you know, or every time we
know.
have a meeting.
I know.
So. I'm just gonna go there and complain. You guys are gonna get mad at me.
Let's go.
I never got
Let's
mad at him.
let's get to 11. Move forward to 11.
The other thing we've talked about too is, you know, like doing, and you know, I don't know if it would be something that would ever record, but you know, kinda, probably not. It might be more of a interaction thing, but we talked about prior to COVID is, you know, doing kinda like sessions with the, you know, with the different, committees or groups for the
Right.
senior center, you know, or open, you know, not necessarily the senior center, but doing it over there, and it's like coffee hour with, you know, and they do it with Sheila, the veteran services officer, and they invite everybody.
Right.
You know, but if that's something that we do, that's something that we could pump out on cable and say, hey, you know, this week it's going to be, you know, chat coffee time with the, you know, whoever, town administrator, or coffee time with the treasury of tax questions or whatever, bring them, and so, you know, that might be another thing that we could advertise if it ever comes to anything. You know, obviously with Ryan leaving, it will be hard, but that would be something that I think would still be a good thing to have, and so that's, you know, something that I would discuss with the next town administrator.
Yeah, that would be an excellent idea on your part to do that. That would be an excellent idea.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, because, I mean, given the opportunity I've got with so much free time when I'm not, you know, being tasked with things, you can listen to WGBH, and once a week, the governor's there,
Yeah.
Maura Healy's there, the mayor of Boston is there. When they get a new chief of police, he or she is appointed, or once they've been placed in the position, they do an hour Q&A on the radio,
On WGAW or W what?
WGBH,
Which one's that?
89.7. I would think.
Well, we do have a
I
thing
would
with
think we could-
WGAW.
I think we might be able to consider a new town administrator to do that once a month, once every 2 weeks even. So
So
twice a
we
month
didn't wanna-
for 1
right.
hour to sit down for Q&A, so they can address issues that maybe people either email in or leave them off in your mailbox.
Right.
Leave
So-
questions in your mailbox.
So we've thought about it, right, we could do like a, you know, a Q&A, and we did that one time, with actually the boards and committees. This was a while back, cause I kind of acted as like a moderator for the event of people having questions, you know, right, cause people have questions. You know, so like I said, that way we had it, you know, but I guess it could also turn into something eventually where, you know, it's a live stream, if we have a good Zoom capability that people could check in. You know, the only thing is if you do something like that and nobody shows up, that's also kind of, you know, a waste of time and effort for nobody to be there, right? So I wouldn't, what, because you're just gonna sit here for an hour waiting for people to check in and
Well,
ask
I
a
think we
question?
would have to, have plans basically with pre-canned questions that they're going to ask.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
Yeah, that's
if
how
no
you
one
set it
shows up, these 3 people will be here and you ask them these questions, cause then we'll get whatever information we're looking to get it out.
Okay.
You would
And,
just- you would just have
and
to-
when you know, have that and it goes out and people watch it and whatever, they're much more likely to come to the next
Participate,
one,
sure.
participate in the next one,
I
etc.
often, when somebody complains to me about something, I often say, you know, have you ever gone to that committee? And I've actually even volunteered to go with them. You know how many said yes? None.
So I asked again for elections of getting information, you know, I had somebody come up to me at the election and say, you know, they didn't know about it and this and that. And, I said, really, cause, you know, that's something that I hear often. So, you know, I'm always open to ideas and open to, you know, different things. So what ideas do you have for me that I could have made this better? Well, I don't know. Okay, well, I don't know either, you know, and so that's great, like, right, people want to see change, but we also need a feedback of what they think that could be, you know, done to make it change or make it better. So, you know, the I don't knows don't give us any guidance. So, right, people do have a lot of questions, they have concerns, and, you know, social media just, you know, information gets put out, and, you you know, I kind of try to watch it. I don't have a lot of time to always check it, but you know, one person says something and it's wrong, and then, you know, so I try to always stop and say, hey, or say, this is what this is, and give them information that I have or know, or lead them in the direction that they need to go in. You know, but like I said, if so something like that would definitely help.
Well, wouldn't the moderator have the questions before they sat down with anybody, whoever it is they were gonna interview? Whether it be the chief of police, the town administrator, the town clerk, the head of the library commission, whatever? Wouldn't the moderator say, I've got, pull a number, 10 questions, 12
Sure,
questions?
yeah, and we could do
So
something
we
like
could
that.
I mean, that would
Yeah.
already be in hand.
Yep.
So we
This-
don't have to go through open meeting law, we don't have to go through anything like that. You can
Right.
just do a Q&A once every 2 weeks with the town administrator saying, okay, this is what took place over the previous 2 weeks, town meeting, et cetera. You know, what do you think?
And you don't even have to have
Go
it,
from there.
you don't also even have to have it public. I mean, it could be broadcast public, but not have public involvement at that time.
Correct.
Because then you would have your, you know, because, yeah, 1 hour, but you might not get to everything if people are chiming in. And then you could submit your questions for the following week, and if there are no questions or whatever at that time, then you could, you know, skip or whatever it may be.
We could sit down,
That's a good idea.
the 5 of us could sit down, and whoever else was on the cable commission could sit down and say, okay, what's taking place, these are, we only got 3 questions
Yep.
from the general public.
Sure.
We need to have at least a dozen to
Yep.
go in there.
So
to
what
keep-
are the other things that are,
Right.
you know, festering around town
could
from
hash it
people
out.
as, you know, from just even feedback or people coming in, you know, we've had questions about this.
I mean,
right?
I think well, they didn't do a candidate forum for this last election.
Because there was no contested
No contested
races
races.
whatsoever.
I will say though, especially for something like that, I think there's a large appetite for it in Hubbardston because your meetings, the meetings that we post online on YouTube, the amount of views that you get, considering the size of the population of your town, is very high compared to other towns of your size. And likewise, I was just looking at like candidate forums we've done in the past. The one we did in 2021, there were over 300 views. Like, there's a lot of people watching that, and I think there's an appetite for that sort of thing here.
Right, and I mean, even, you know, you see things, and it's like, still, even now, like, you see questions, and 2 weeks later, you see that same question, you know, and if we can get people in that direction of, you know, going to the, you know, going to YouTube, going to the thing, and like I said, and sharing that more, and that's something that I can work on, you know, and I do that for past and present meetings, or for meetings and share, or, you know, whatever it may be. But like I said, have that, because, you know, people, what's going on at the senior, you know, what's going on down here? Okay, well, so that's a question, right? And so it might not be a question that somebody sends in, but we know that that's a question, we see that coming up, so that's something that could be addressed. So, yeah, definitely, I mean, I think that's like I said, I've always said it was a great thing anyways, you know, we more did it to the senior center, you know, because Ryan and I and Claudia and somebody else, I believe, had gone to this like senior center thing, and we talked about doing that. But this would get that outreach to everybody, and you know, involved. So, you know, with anything, with tax time, you know, if you have tax questions, or these are the questions that, you know, they hear the most about property taxes, or this is how you can pay your bill, you know, if you're unsure. So even information like that.
So this is, that I don't know. So that's a building department issue. But as far as the
Anything
size
else?
of the lot and any kind of monetary
Okay.
compensation,
I
that's where I say.
guess that's new business. Is it old business?
You had title insurance when you bought it. And if you did
It's
have
hearing
paid
none.
out this,
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
no.
Motion to
Unfortunately,
adjourn?
that's the situation you're in.
Second.
Second.
You may or may not still have.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we are done.
But if it was incorrect in 2006.
11:20.